Hello friends, have no makeup on today, so sorry about that, but anyway, my video is really not about makeup or anything. My video is about my gastro. So I had somebody ask me recently, what's been going on with all your medical problems that I've been having for a minute. And I'm now 53 years old, and I recently, in the last day of on April 30th, I had a diverticulitis episode, and then I went to the hospital and I had a CT scan and they told me I had diverticulitis. They gave me, I think it was Cipro for 7 days, and they also gave me some antibiotics while I was there at the hospital, and they sent me home. It was excruciatingly painful, and anybody knows that when you have a diverticulitis flare-up, it is excruciatingly painful. And then 2 weeks later, on May 15, I went back because I was getting better, and then all of a sudden I just got bad again, and the pain came back, and it was very bad. And for those of you that know me, I am terrified of needles. I have checked myself out of hospitals in the past. I had pneumonia once, like 3 years ago, and I checked myself out because I couldn't stand that IV in me. So I just dread going to the emergency room or any hospital or whatever. So I did go, and what happened was they told me that they did another CT scan. They told me that my diverticulitis was actually worse the second time around. So there was that. I got more antibiotics. I got sent to my GI specialist. So I did get to see my GI specialist, and they put me on 14-day antibiotics, and that seemed to clear it up a little bit. Prior to that, last year I had a food emptying test, and I was told that I had gastroparesis. Now, for those of you watching this video knowing about gastroparesis is really on a range. So you can either have gastroparesis severe, or you can have like what they would call slow motility. And as we age, we all get slow motility, right? Our bodies just don't digest the same way. They just don't function. So it's a mechanical issue when you have gastroparesis, and your stomach doesn't contract as much, and so sometimes the food can stay longer in your stomach instead of it going through. So gastroparesis, sometimes some people can have it really severe, like 94%, or in the 90 percentile, which means that if they eat something, like they eat a sandwich today, tomorrow they'll still be digesting that one sandwich. And so it causes a lot of problems. And so I have gastroparesis, but I have mild gastroparesis. Some doctors will identify it as having a sluggish digestive system, right? So there's that. I was given at the time by my GI doctor, when I was diagnosed with gastroparesis, I was given what was it called? Linzess. I was given Linzess. And for me, Linzess does sort of work, but it causes me to have very runny stools. And so I'm always, it doesn't give me nice, good stools. It just literally just gives me runny stools. And so, and it causes a lot of cramping. I think it's like any other laxative that you take, that just, sometimes it just causes you to have a lot of cramping. So it really depends on what you want to take. I have had years of chronic constipation, so when I went back to my GI doctor, because I said, I'm looking on the internet, I'm looking online, and I have so many videos of diverticulitis, so many videos of gastroparesis. What can I do? And she said to me, your diverticulitis was caused really by your chronic lifetime of constipation. And I really understood constipation when I was in my teen years. That's when I realized that I always had constipation. And it just got progressively worse as I aged. And then, of course, now I tend to produce very hard, dry stools and like little rabbits. Stool, really small, pebble-like, hard stools. And that's what's so uncomfortable. And I don't know what I'm eating that's producing me. And I've done a lot of research. I've looked and, I've taken everything. There's nothing on the market that I haven't taken. Miralax, fiber, drink tons of water, just everything you could imagine, chia seeds, fiber supplements, this and that. I literally have an arsenal. So when I was preparing to do this update with you all, I wanted to bring my arsenal with me, but I said, it's just too many stuff. So I only brought a few of my medications and supplements and minerals that I take. But the one thing I know is that I don't want to be in pain. And gastroparesis combined with diverticulitis is a nightmare. So what I have done, because of the gastroparesis, I have to eat very small amounts of foods and more frequently. And with the diverticulitis, I discovered that intermittent fasting was really good for me. And so sometimes they're in contradiction of each other. Because in diverticulitis, they tell you to stay away from certain foods like nuts and popcorn and stuff like that. And in gastroparesis, you're supposed to stay away from things that are very hard to digest, like certain proteins, meats, like steak. I really have a hard time digesting steaks. Things like uncooked vegetables, like eating raw broccoli and certain vegetables, I can't eat that. So sometimes they're almost in contradiction. So I've just been really terrified. So since April, May, I have literally lost 10 pounds because I don't know what to eat. For the first couple of weeks, I was just eating jellos and broth, chicken broth, beef broth, different types of broth. And then I moved on to soups and potatoes, starchy potatoes, and breads. For some reason I can eat bread, but then I get scared because then it'll constipate me. So it's just a vicious cycle. And whenever you go to the doctor, whether it's your primary physician or whether it's your GI doctor, they're like, well, take this, take more water, do more exercise, have more fiber in your diet. So what to do? Well, what I have found out is that nobody is going to care about your body and your health more than you, period. So we all have to advocate for our own selves, and we all have to be very proactive in our own treatment of what works best for us. So I sort of have come up to something that sort of is okay. I have a cruise planned in October, and it's an 8-day cruise. And initially, when I planned it back in February, I was super excited about it because I was like, oh my God, and you're just in the ship and you're just eating all day and just enjoying everything and just drinking and having a good time. I don't normally drink, but I do like the fruity drinks, and I thought, I'll just drink. I even bought the package that's like all inclusive with the drinks. And now I'm really terrified about drinking alcohol. I really am, because it'll just dehydrate me, and my intestines need all the water they can have. And so being without any type of water or just dehydrating my body through alcohol is just not a good thing. So now I'm like, great, I can't really enjoy the alcohol drinks. And now I'm also thinking the food, it's like, who cares about the food, because I really can't eat food. It used to be to where when we used to go out with, to go have dinner or something, my husband's always like, what do you want to eat? And I'd be like, oh, I'm craving this, I'm craving that. Now literally I'm like, what do you want to eat? And I'll just find something to eat at that place. It's really changed my whole life. But what I try to avoid first and foremost are two things. Those are the two things that I try to avoid. Is one, the constipation. I always want to make it a point to not get constipated. and to try to have some form of regular bowel movement at least once a day if possible. And two is avoiding the pain, the excruciating pain that comes with always having abdominal pain. So those are the two things that I try to prioritize when I'm treating myself. And so I'm going to give you all some things that I do, because the one thing I've also discovered in joining all these groups with gastroparesis groups and groups with diverticulitis is that everybody seems to have a different way of approaching their health. And some people, do everything the doctor says. Some people have had surgical interventions. Some people have had their colon resection with diverticulitis. I haven't gotten to that place yet. I've only had, like I said, these two back to back, and right now I'm holding steady, knock on wood. Or I don't have wood near me. But anyway, so I'm trying to not avoid any type of surgical interventions, because that's like the last thing I want to do. And I've been looking at a lot of and talking to a lot of people, and like I said, joining all these groups to find out what is the best treatment for them. And a lot of times people are just doing a lot of things differently. So I'm going to give you what I've been taking, what I've been prescribed. So I told you before that I have been prescribed Lincess. And Lincess does work for me when I'm really backed up, almost impacted. And it just like releases it, but then for the rest of the day I have stomach cramps, I'm in pain, and I'm runny all the time. And so that has impacted my quality of life, literally in every sense of the word, because everything revolves now around what I'm eating, when I'm eating, and how much I'm eating. So I was given Lincess, and then that was it. That was the only thing that I ever got prescribed. And I also was told to take probiotics. So probiotics, I take a lot of probiotics, and I buy everything. I buy everything you can think of the sun, under the sun, with probiotics. And then I recently heard that you shouldn't take a whole mess of different probiotics, because sometimes they're fighting against each other. So maybe I should just take one type of probiotics, but I don't know which one. So I'm still figuring out that battle about the probiotics, which ones are better than others. And I mean, there's not any type of, I've been on Amazon. I used to literally, I hate using the word literally too much. I used to go on Amazon and I used to buy a whole mess of stuff on Amazon, and I told myself I need to stop buying on Amazon. My husband's always like, oh, your daily package is here, right? And I buy just dumb stuff on Amazon, and I finally said to myself, I'm going to stop buying it. But when all this started happening, now I'm back on Amazon, but the difference is now I'm not buying, purses and shoes and makeup and just, whatever. Now I'm buying things like supplements and all sorts of supplements and new vitamins and new things that I hear about, right? That's become my new daily package, is my supplements and my minerals and vitamins. It's sad. But anyway, like around a year ago, I was visiting my sister, and she also said that sometimes she has problems with constipation, and she recommended this particular, it's called Cáscara Sagrada. It's actually means, Cáscara means peel, right? Maybe. I know Sagrada means sacred. So it's a sacred peel. It's a herbal supplement. And it really does work. But it also does cause a little bit of cramping. And in the past, I used to use this like when I was really feeling like, oh my God, I need to do something. So I use this Cáscara Sagrada like as a last resort, sometimes when I really do have to have a bowel movement. And, it does work. It just sometimes it's not something that I want to take daily. I never take anything daily because I figure that it's gonna hurt me more. So anyway, this is one of them. And of course I showed you all the probiotics. So every night, every evening, I take my probiotics, different types of probiotics. These are just two. I have literally like 18 different types of probiotics. I have some that I keep in the refrigerator, some that I keep in room temperature. These are just two of them, and they're just different ones, but I alternate each evening on which ones I'm going to take. And so I take it with, usually I'll take it with prune juice, which I hate. I don't like prune juice, but I'll take it with prune juice. And sometimes I'll take it with pear juice, because I recently heard from somebody that pear juice is really good for constipation. I haven't seen anything to show me that that is effective, that helps. I bought some pear juice, and I don't know. I don't see any significant difference. So if I was reviewing pear juice, I would say the verdict is still out. I don't know. Maybe I'm not taking enough. But anyway, there's that. And then, but so I was doing okay for the whole year, ever since, because like I said, I wasn't really diagnosed with, it was really mild dose of gastroparesis, which means my system is sluggish, right? So with that, they gave me the Linsaz, told me to take my probiotics, and occasionally, and take lots of water, do exercise, and occasionally take the Cascara Sagrada when I'm really plugged up. This year in 2023, the diverticulitis kicks in. Now I have that. So now I'm like much more concerned about my constipation, and I definitely feel I need to address it. So what have I been doing for that? So the two things that I've discovered, and I also have to mention to you that I did have a gallbladder removal in 2007. I had my gallbladder removed. So I never had any follow-up suggestions. Again, doctors will tell you just eat healthy, take care of yourself, whatever, right? I had to do a lot of research on that. Now that I had the diverticulitis, I did a lot of research also on my gallbladder. And one of the things I came up to the conclusion was, because my GI specialist, I mean, they take what, 5 minutes, maybe top 10 minutes. When you go see your doctor, they're going to see you for 5-10 minutes, and then you're just another client, you're just another patient, and then, you know, make your notes, and that's it. They bill insurance, whatever, bill you. But they don't really live your life. You're the one that lives your life. You're the one that's either constipated or having a good quality of life or lack thereof. So I figure that I know I'm only going to see them to give me some guidance, maybe. So now I go very prepared with questions, and I'm doing this, what do you suggest? So now I see them more as just advocating for me, but I don't see them as I'm going to go, then they're going to cure me. Because only I know what I'm ingesting, what I'm eating, how my lifestyle is. They don't see that in the 5-10 minutes that they see me, only I do. I do know that I have 2 addictions in my life, and they're massive addictions. The first addiction I have is sunflower seeds. I literally crave sunflower seeds all the time. I used to eat like 2 big bags of sunflower seeds a day. I know that's a lot of salt. I know that's a lot of sodium, but I have very low sodium, so I can have all the sodium I want. I also have very low blood pressure. My blood pressure runs 90s over 60s. That's about my average. When I go in the 80s, that's when it's dangerous, because then I do feel faint and I'm passing out everywhere. But usually, since I was little, I've always had low blood pressure. That is hereditary. My dad has low blood pressure, and so I always run very low. So my sodium and my potassiums are always low. So I can have all the sodium I want, and maybe that's why I crave seeds so much. But then I find out I shouldn't be eating so much seeds because of the diverticulitis. And so I'm like, so it's like all these years I've been eating seeds, and I think it's given me that extra sodium that I need. But at the same time, now I'm scared to eat seeds because I don't want to have flare, a diverticulitis flare. So that's one of my addictions. And since my flare, I haven't had not one seed, which has been super painful because I'm like, I'm craving my sunflower seeds. So that's one. The second addiction I have is chocolate. And I love chocolate. I mean, I'm obsessed. I can have chocolate every day, all day, and not care too much about food, as long as I have chocolate. But I haven't had chocolate for a whole month either. Actually, I lied. I did have chocolate. I gave in and I had some chocolate on Friday, and then I had another little bite of another chocolate on Saturday. And that's only because I've been feeling a little bit better, so I gave in to the temptation. But those are my two addictions, sunflower seeds and chocolate. I'm cut down a lot. Sunflower seeds, I'm at 0. Chocolates, I'm at cut down maybe 95% of chocolate intake. But chocolate does constipate me a lot. It really, really does. And I know it. And I can feel that. That one is 100%. It's like cheese. I'm not a big cheese lover, but whenever I have cheese or what's that called? Cream cheese. Oh my God, that will constipate me so severely. So I try to avoid it. Like one of my favorites is bagels with cream cheese. I love bagels with cream cheese, but I don't eat them anymore because of the cream cheese. Cream cheese is just really, really, really bad for your gut. And it's not just me, actually. It's bad for everyone's gut. But for me, it causes massive constipation. So I don't eat it as much. And chocolate is one of those things that's really bad for me. So I know which foods to try to avoid. The sunflower seeds I'm still unsure of because in my last blood work that I had done, my doctor told me that my sodium levels were really, really low. That and my vitamin D was really low. So she did prescribe vitamin D. And it's the once weekly vitamin D that she prescribed. And what I don't like about this one, unfortunately, is that it also constipates me. So whenever I take this one vitamin D, which is once weekly, I have to take it with the Cáscara Sagrada or with something else because it just, Miralax, just whatever I can take it. Prune juice, anything. I also take those little liquid probiotics. I also use those sometimes. So anyway, I try to take those vitamins because I really need them. But at the same time, I'm scared of the constipation. So there's that. And another thing that I was prescribed recently, and this was like when I just got the first diverticulitis episode, was Reglan. And I always write down what it's for because sometimes you start having a whole collection of prescription medication and you're like, okay, what was this for? What was this for? And I do have to say that I am a licensed pharmacy tech in the state of California, and even though I live in Texas now, but I always research all my medications. So I do a lot of research on medications because being a pharmacy tech, you learn a lot of stuff about how pharmacy works and how doctors prescribe medication. And back then when I became a pharmacy tech, doctors were required to take 2 semester hours of pharmacology, which is really dangerous because a lot of medications that are prescribed and that are, the pharmaceuticals that go out to doctor offices and they're pushing their medications, doctors are like, okay, and then they'll just prescribe it, and sometimes they overprescribe it. And so I'm very, very cautious about the amounts of medication that I get. So Reglan, and it's also known as metoclopramide, that's the generic name, but Reglan is the name of it. This is one of those that I am very, very, very cautious with. This one is for motility, for the motility of your gastric system, and it's supposed to help you move your bowel along. But it also has a lot of side effects. It's actually blacklisted or black box listed, which means that it does have pretty extreme side effects. And so this one is prescribed to me. One tablet by mouth 4 times a day. 4 times a day. That is insanity to me. I would never take Reglan 4 times a day at 5 milligrams. No way in heck. So I will take this one at least once, maybe twice a week. And it just depends on how I'm feeling. It depends on my what I've eaten, when was the last time I had a bowel movement. It depends how my stomach is doing. Like, I'm really listening to my stomach. I'm really paying attention more so now than ever to what I'm eating, what I'm consuming, what I'm drinking, how much I'm eating, the amounts that I'm eating, and how my body is responding to that, especially since I went through that elimination diet where I eliminated everything and then I started reintroducing some food. Oh, I gotta get that. I started reintroducing some food, and with the reintroduction of food, I also discovered that I was still producing very hard stools. So there you go. But Reglan is just something that I'm not gonna say it's 100% terrible, but I am gonna say be cautious with it. Be careful with it. Don't. And you know what scares me the most is when doctors prescribe it to children and parents just give it to the child based on what it says there, and it scares me. I never gave my kids growing up medications because as a pharmacy tech I was paranoid about that, and so I was very careful. And I had one child, but thank God that two of my kids were super healthy. The other one unfortunately was not, and he has a lot of problems with sinuses and fungal stuff. Anyway, I should do a whole video on that, but and asthma. And so I was very careful about what medications I gave him, and so I'm always very careful. Tylenol, ibuprofen are medications that are over the counter. A lot of people take them, but again, you have to be very careful even with over the counter medications. Tylenol constipates me severely. And ibuprofen, it works really good for me, but unfortunately it's also really bad for your GI stomach. So you have to be very careful when and how you take it. So I'm going to say that for those of you with Reglan, is just listen to your body. Another big side effect of Reglan is tardive dyskinesia. And tardive dyskinesia, I used to see a lot in psychiatric hospitals because when we used to take where I work, I'm a social worker, so we used to take children sometimes to the psych center, the psych hospitals, and they get a lot of psychotropic medications, and you see tardive dyskinesia very frequently. So a lot of psychotropic medications cause that, and what it is it's usually like drooling and shakes, and you get like little shakes around the mouth, and sometimes you can't even speak because it's a lot of medications. So Reglan causes that to a lot of usage of that. So I'm very careful. I don't discard it completely. I do use it, like I said, when I feel like I do need help with my motility. I will sometimes use Reglan. So there's that. Another one that I recently got, this was just very recent, and I'm sure some of you have heard it, it's Motegrity, right? Motegrity is another one like Linzess, like Reglan, that helps with the motility. And so Motegrity, I really, this was one that I had read a lot of wonderful reviews about. And when I took it, and I've only taken one, I took it this past Friday. And I really, when I went to sleep, I said, I'm going to take it. Wish me luck. I, for some reason, felt that this was going to be my miracle drug. And I said, if I can take this one and I can wake up and I can have a wonderful bowel movement, and from now on, this will be my drug, right? Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. I woke up early around 3 a.m. with stomach cramps. I went to the restroom and I had runs. It really worked to me very similar to Lincess, where it just causes a little bit of cramping and the runs. I went into this other Facebook page for Integrity, and people were saying that you have to try to take it every day and just put up with the symptoms, and usually after 7 days that it sort of stabilizes and then it starts to work a little bit better. So I don't know. I'm still thinking about whether I want to do that, whether I want to have stomach pains for the next 7 days until it stabilizes. But you know, I mean, it did lose up any impaction I may have had, but it's one of those pills that I think this is the one time when I think I put too much hope in one pill and it sort of didn't really work as the way I wanted it to. So there's that. That's Integrity. So another one that I started taking right after I got my second episode, and after a lot of research, was Beano. And Beano is an over-the-counter digestive enzyme, and it just helps you to digest certain vegetables and certain proteins, things like not just beans. A lot of people think it just allows you to eat beans, but no, it's really proteins. So, if you're gonna have meat or any type of steak or anything, please try not to take this. Try not to take the Beano, because it will give you, I'm sorry, I meant to say, yes, take the Beano if you're going to be eating any type of steak or any type of food that may be too harsh and maybe you can't digest it. So I started taking Beano. But then when I started taking Beano, I started doing a lot more research, and I found out that since I had my gallbladder removed, that I don't digest as well as I used to. So then I started taking ox bile. That's right. So this is ox bile extract, and it's also helps with your digestion. So it's supposed to help with the bile, because you don't produce that anymore since I don't have a gallbladder anymore. So this one, I got it off of Amazon, and I'm going to say this. I was taking the Beano, and then I started taking this one, but then I also found super enzymes. And this supports healthy digestion. It breaks down fats, carbs, and proteins, and it optimizes nutrient availability. So I then started taking this one, and I realized that this one helps me too. This one works a lot like Beano, where it breaks down a lot of the foods that I can't break down and I can't digest. So that works. And then I also started taking, this one will be the last one. I have a whole mess of other ones, but I'll just say this other one. I started taking an amino acid, and it's called L-glutamine, right? And this one supports immune function, and it's nitrogen transporter. For some reason, this one helped me a lot. And I read this one when I was buying these ones on Amazon. I want to say thank you to the people who put reviews on Amazon. I should make another review about that. Just another video just about Amazon reviews, because people will sometimes really put like, oh, this really helped me, but I also use it in conjunction with this or that, right? And so it starts getting me going and researching, well, what is that? Well, what did they recommend, and this and that, right? So this is how you advocate for yourself, and you do all the research so that you can find out what best works for you. So while I was buying this one, I discovered about digestive enzymes. And when I bought this one and looking at the reviews, somebody mentioned this one, which is the L-glutamine. So I went ahead and bought that one. So now I have decided that what works best for me, literally, is these two. So these two have been the ones that I'm taking pretty much every day. So like when I go have dinner, like around at 5 o'clock, I'll take an L-glutamine and I'll take an ox bile. Sometimes I'll take this one and I'll take the digestive. Sometimes I'll take these two. Sometimes I'll take these two. These two have become my dailies. Sometimes I won't take this one if I know I'm not really eating that much, then I won't even take that. But those are the ones that I'm taking. So anyway, just to say, you know, when I show you all of these medications, some of them, like I said, are over the counter, some of them are prescribed, some of them, many of them are prescribed. But whatever I take, whatever probiotic I take or fiber I take, I try to do a lot of research. And so I hope that what my videos do is inspire people to do their own research, because what works for me may not necessarily work for you. And all our bodies are different. We all process different. Like I said, I have very low blood pressure, but some people have high blood pressure. I have a very low sodium. Some people are not supposed to have sodium. Me, it's like the doctor's like, have all the sodium you want. So it's just different. Everyone is different. And so you have to find what works best for you. And if you try to put all of your ducks in one basket, or all your eggs in one basket, and just put all your trust in one physician, you're going to be disappointed. And I don't think that it's because the physicians are incompetent or just not caring. I think it's because, you know, like I said, they only see you 5-10 minutes. They may see all your records at the time. They may not have them. They may not have blood work or CT scans or MRIs or whatever they need. And so they're just going to go based on what information they have right there and then. And so they may prescribe you stuff that may or may not be appropriate for you. So be very, very careful with everything that you get prescribed. Like I said, Reglan prescribed 4 times a day. I don't think so. It just really depends on you. Your health and the quality of your life depends on you. I know that I want to have a good quality of life. I don't know if I have 10, 15, 20, 30 years left of my life, but whatever I do have, I want to make sure that it's the best years of my life. Somebody once told me that 40 to 60 are your best years of life, because usually by then you don't have little ones at home. You've already, you know, probably an empty nester, which I am. We're me and my husband were empty nesters, and so we're at that age where we're still working. We still do work full time. We still have a job, but we also travel a lot more, and we just enjoy each other a lot more. And so the quality of life that I have now is really important to me, and making sure that I eat healthy, that I exercise appropriately, that I take care of everything that I have is important. And your GI, your endocrine system, your digestive system is important. It's important. You know, right now I'm not wearing any makeup, and and it's a good thing I'm not, because I wanted to let you know that when I first started having a lot of problems, which was when I was in my early 40s, I got really bad pigmentation on my face, like really bad. I still have some pigmentation, you know, but it was bad. It was like big old brown stains here, and it was so traumatic for me, because I always had really flawless skin growing up. In high school, we hardly wore makeup in the 80s, right? You hardly wear makeup. I just used to wear lip gloss and eyeliner. That was it. But we had very fresh skins, and so now, with the pigmentation started happening, it was just so traumatic. And I believe now that it all was caused by having a bad digestive system. my liver, my kidneys were probably not working at its functional level. I had gained a lot of weight, and I was just really unhealthy. And so I think this sort of has forced me to look at my health and to look at what I'm eating and to pay more attention to what I'm consuming and to really advocate for myself medically and to try to take more holistic medications and vitamins and supplements and not always resort to prescription medications. And so if this helps you, if you know of any other suggestions that you use for your gastroparesis or your IBS or your diverticulitis, whatever you have, we're all in this together. And like I said, we learn from one another. And I learn literally from groups and Amazon reviews and everything I can get my hands on and research papers and whatever. So if any of my information helped you, let me know. And also let me know if you have any other pointers that I'm missing, because you never know. So thank you. See ya. Bye.